So we finally got some new information on the upcoming Battlefield game based on an EA earnings call. A bunch of news reports are coming out now. I just want to go through them all with you guys here. This video is going to be a lot less scripted. I just want to talk about the information in a little bit of a freestyle format. So these reports are coming out of comicbook.com. The next Battlefield is a reimagination, says EA. The next Battlefield game will probably be pretty different. So fun stuff for sure. Definitely cool. The next Battlefield will be a reimagination according to EA. The Battlefield series is one of the biggest shooter franchises out there, but it has struggled a lot over the last decade. Even in this article, they say that Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 are seen as the golden age of the franchise, with each entry pushing the bar further and further while also creating distinct competitors to Call of Duty. However, things started to fall apart with Battlefield 5 and then 2042. While they've been updated to a much better state, there's no denying they really did a number on the reputation of the series. Now EA is trying its best to reposition the franchise for success by developing multiple new entries, including a single-player focused game in the series. They say during an earnings call, EA confirmed that there will not be a new Battlefield game in the fiscal year 2024, meaning we're not going to get a new series until at least summer of 2025, but it'll more likely be fall 2025, as that's historically when the series releases new games. So that's probably a pretty good estimate considering they're working on the single player portion, the multiplayer. We don't really know what those are going to be yet. 2025 is probably a pretty good guesstimate. The publisher also noted that the next Battlefield will be a reimagination as a truly connected ecosystem. We have absolutely no idea what that even means, but it certainly suggests it will be different than the games we have been getting. Now, this article suggests that maybe EA is trying to link all of its upcoming Battlefield projects that are currently in development in an almost MCU-esque fashion, but it's unknown what that may mean for gameplay or how these games are experienced. And the way that I see it, EA wants to reimagine what Battlefield is in a truly connected ecosystem. So I wonder if this is bringing back an idea of a platform similar to what Battlelog was back in Battlefield 3 days, where you would go to the website, you had access to the multiplayer, the single player, your ranks, clans, leaderboards, all of that stuff within a single platform. And this is what the Battlefield connected ecosystem is going to be. Truthfully, back in the day, I hated the idea of Battlelog. Nowadays, I don't necessarily like that idea, but if the content is there, great. Like if we have a single player Battlefield, if we have a multiplayer Battlefield that truly pushes the boundaries of tech. I mean, realistically, that's why everybody loves Battlefield, right? We had the Levolution, the destruction. Every game was a step forward for the franchise, especially coming from the days of Battlefield 2, watching the leap from 2 to 3, from, I mean, I would even say 3 to 4 in some regards. The visual jump from 4 to 1 was significant, and I thought that it was a nice advancement. Granted, the gameplay, in my opinion, didn't hold up to the likes of Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2, and 4 still, but the visuals were a nice jump, and if that was the direction that Battlefield was going, great. And then we got 5, and 5 didn't work out at all. And then we got 2042, and the launch for 2042 was terrible. We don't need to recap the ins and outs of everything. All I'm gonna say is if this next Battlefield title doesn't push the franchise forward in ways that gamers actually want, things like destruction, things like more customization options, class-based gameplay, but giving us a lot more options to tweak and customize our characters. We don't need specialists. We don't need operators. What we need is a lot of unlocks and customizations. We need content for our Battlefield games. Content that facilitates that core Battlefield class-based vehicular infantry gameplay. DICE has 20 years of blueprints to go off of to figure it out. There should be no reason why the next Battlefield game doesn't facilitate that exact gameplay loop that we got with 3, 4, but then just turn it up a little bit. Make a true sequel to the games that put you guys in a position to where we're even talking about this shit today. Come here, come closer. Could you guys even imagine if we had like a modern Battlefield shooter that played like Battlefield 3 and 4, visually looks like a step up from Battlefield 1, jets, helicopters, tanks, class-based gameplay, a shit ton of brand new maps with the ability to also go back and play the old ones. Could you guys imagine jumping from a brand new destructible as hell map, jumping back to Strike at Carcand or Wake Island or Metro? Take what you guys kind of initially did with Portal and then you half-assed the hell out of it. Take Portal and make that your ecosystem to facilitate the core gameplay loop that we all want. You guys are almost there with 2042, but truth be told, I think that 2042 is a lost cause for about 80% of the Battlefield player base. Guys don't want to go back. It's a wash. It's done. I personally think the game is in a lot better state, but it's a wash. You're never going to get those players back because you burned the hell out of them. This one needs to be perfect. And when I hear things like reimagination, I get a little scared. I don't want you guys to reimagine anything. I want you to imagine what a good Battlefield game is like and then make it. The comic book article states that we're not going to see a game until at least summer of 2025, but they're guessing that it's fall of 2025. But then in an article from Gaming Bible, it points out that the fiscal year runs from 2023 to April of 2024, meaning we could technically see the next Battlefield game at the end of next year. Now, all things considered, I really don't want to see a Battlefield game next year. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore this franchise, at least the earlier days of the franchise. I don't want you to rush this title. By any stretch, this next Battlefield ecosystem platform, it needs to be damn near perfect. It needs to have a ton of content. It needs to play like a modern shooter should play. It needs to have a ton of content up front because according to this ecosystem stuff, all I'm getting out of this is live service trickle feed content. If the gameplay is good, people will play and they will wait and they will eat the shit up. Get the gameplay down pat. And if you guys are really planning to separate and make a single player Battlefield game and a multiplayer Battlefield game, and it's not just all wrapped into one, that actually kind of excites me. Telling an actual story, getting connected to the characters. A lot of people love Bad Company for the multiplayer gameplay. I loved Bad Company for the storyline. Playing the single player portions of Bad Company was some of my favorite times playing Battlefield, and I want to get back to that. Even playing the campaigns for Battlefield 3 and 4, I want to get back to that. We know in Battlefield 1, they kind of opted to do those war stories and shit. That didn't satisfy my need for a nice, like, military shooter story. The studios that they've been setting up for the single player portion of the Battlefield ecosystem, they excite me, and I want to see more about that. And if this is what this platform is, great. This kind of sounds like what they're trying to do with Call of Duty. If you guys can see on the Steam page here, Call of Duty is just called Call of Duty. This encompasses Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone and all of this stuff. Like, this is what I consider like a central ecosystem hub. Wouldn't it be cool if you went to Steam and you just searched up Battlefield, you download the Battlefield hub, and within that hub, you can now purchase a single player Battlefield title. You can purchase a multiplayer title. They might have a battle royale or whatever mode they want to do that's the free to play version. You download that as well. And they create an ecosystem. If they're trying to copy the Call of Duty model, all I ask is that you don't make it as convoluted and bullshit to scroll through menus like you do in Call of Duty. Hire a UI UX designer that didn't work at fucking Hulu. Please, if you're going to do it like this. There is a statement in the Gaming Bible article right here. If the next installment doesn't solidly run, I do wonder if that'll spell the end for Battlefield. And I never ever want to see games or franchises or IPs fail and just be blown into the wind. I've watched it so many times with AAA developers absolutely fucking their franchises to the point where there's just no return. Or when they do return, it is in what they call a reimagining. That's where we're at. If the next one isn't good, doesn't run, and is just fucked at launch, this franchise will most likely be shelved. And if you were to ask me 10 years ago if I thought that Battlefield would be on the verge, on the brink of destruction, I'd say no, bro. We were in our peak back then. Fans certainly need convincing by EA. Do we really need a reimagination? I just want a good game. That's all we're asking for. Gamers disagree on absolutely everything, man. You got people that like Call of Duty, Cold War, Black Ops. You got people that like fucking Advanced Warfare. You got all... It's noise, right? That being said, I think when it comes to Battlefield, a lot of people are on the same page with what we want out of a modern Battlefield title. I don't think it's that difficult to read through the noise of Battlefield and distinguish what makes those games good and what we expect from the title. We've been pretty vocal about it, and from what I'm seeing, a lot of us are on the exact same page. So the new studio is called Ridgeline. They're working on the single player portion of the game. And then we also have a multiplayer experience on the way from DICE. From Ripple Effect, another Battlefield studio is making an entirely new Battlefield experience. It will complement and build upon the series' foundations, EA said. So when I see that, that tells me that EA is in the same page here. They want to build upon the foundations that made Battlefield good. Hey, guys, who would have fucking thought? Who would have thought that that's what people wanted, was a game that is built off of what made your games good? Who would have thought? Maybe just once we're on the same fucking page. There's not a lot of information out there, but there is enough to start kind of seeing the picture being painted. I think EA is really going all in on this one. What that means, I don't know, but I'm curious. I'm interested. I'm a little bit excited, and I got a whole hell of a lot of nerves for it. But I wanted to cover it all here. I wanted to talk to you guys about it, and I just wanted to do a little bit of a freestyle video format going over the information. If you guys want to go to BigfryShop.com, go grab yourself a t-shirt. All shirts are $15. You can support the channel that way, or you can just leave a like on this video and subscribe for everything FPS related. My name is Big Fry. I'll see you guys on the next one.